What's going on, guys? I'm Dobry, this is Kate, and this is the Arcturus Mengsk build. This build is probably the most canon from all of my builds because it works with all the stuff that the notorious villain of Starcraft 1 and 2 has. Well, he's not really a villain. You can actually admire him a bit. Now the thing is, who's Arcturus Mengsk? He's a pretty much a self-made man who manages to overthrow the Dominion and crown himself as their emperor. The thing is, he's very charismatic, he's extremely intelligent, he's a great tactician, he can give you exactly what you want, and he can make you do whatever for him, and he will use you as a pawn to further his goals, and he will not care whether you live or die or whatever happens. And that is why I really like this build, and this is why I said that this build is extremely canon, because we'll be doing exactly that. We'll be taking advantage of people, we will be extremely charismatic and intellectual, and we are going to send people to their deaths, and they will even love you for it. Yeah. And it sounds good already, isn't it? Well, it is, but I will be upfront about you with something. This is not exactly the build that I'm going to show you in the next part of the video. The thing is, it remains pretty much the same, but there is a small difference. Thing is, I realized that many of the things that I made, many of the choices that I made with this build were actually wrong. Scrounger and Fortune Finder aren't necessary because I really wanted to make myself a build that's extremely rich, and that doesn't work so well on survival. Sadly, it doesn't. So this is why I swapped some things around based on this build. The thing is, nothing much have changed. I simply removed the 6 perk points and the second point in luck. I decided to make this build a little more survivable because, as I so painfully learned up until level 32, is that I will be dying a lot if I don't have some basic survivability. And since I am playing on survival, yeah, that's not exactly something that I'd want to tackle with a single point in endurance. If that's a problem for you, I'm truly sorry, but thing is, without these 2 perks, you're perfectly okay to make tons of money. Thing is, if I show you how much money I have, you'll be surprised. It's not it's not because I've been buying too much or selling too much or whatever. It's because I have been going crazy on making shops and settlements. If I show you, on level 32 I have 11 people in Sanctuary, I have 13 in the Rocket Truck Stop, I have 10 in Ten Pines Bluff, I have whopping 12 in Outpost Zimonjo, which is a terrible place to build, I have 13 in the Starlight Drive-In, I have, let me see just how many in Abernathy Farm, that's 9. Sunshine Tidings Co-op has 2 because I think I forgot to put up a recruitment beacon. I have 6 in Grey Garden, I have 12 in Overland Station, I have 12 in Hangman's Alley, and as you can see, the happiness in all those settlements is actually really good. I won't count the Taffington boathouse because I turned it over to the railroad, because this build totally needs the railroad in order to make itself effective. And as you can see, you will be leading a huge empire, and that's actually really nice because it totally fits the how to put the vision of the Arcturus Mengsk build. And to look at Covenant, 12 people, 64% happiness. And why do you think the people are so happy? This is why I have so little money, and first things first, I was really lazy and I was dumping all kinds of weapons in my warehouse, and that was a bad decision, because if I take a look at my workbench, I'll have if I just take the time and sell all this stuff that I have here, including all the special and legendary things, I'll be making a ton of caps, but I was just way too lazy to do it. Because the prices that you'll be selling are actually really good. With that amount of charisma, you'll be selling pretty much at cost. And I'm moving away because I don't want you to hear Piper whining about the whole rain and it soaking her notes and so on and so forth. This is an extremely rewarding build, and this is the first build that employs the flare gun really amazingly as you build up all those settlements. I really love it. I absolutely love it, and it gives you a completely different playstyle based on these three simple perks: inspirational, wasteland whisperer, and intimidation. With intimidation, you can pacify enemies. With this, you can pacify creatures, and there are lots of things that fall under this category. There has also been a guy that utilized all these things to their fullest extent and made a no-kill playthrough, which was amazing. And of course, since we are underpowered, we are running a heavy charisma intelligence build. We're going to play with inspirational, and this is amazing because if you look at the previous perk, if you look at those perks, like number one at level 1, your companion does more damage in combat and most importantly cannot hurt you. This is the first time where you can actually happily give all the kinds of grenades, missile launchers, fat mans and so on and so forth to your companions, and you won't die. In any other case, even if you wear power armor on survival, your companion can absolutely kill you through no fault of your own. So, second level, more damage resist even more damage in combat and can be harmed by your attack, so you can be chucking grenades and so on and so forth, even without the demolition expert. Eventually, should you decide to put another point in perception, I can absolutely grab it. Demolition expert is a really nifty perk, and it's really worth picking up. So, pretty much what I changed from this thing in my build, I just swapped the strength and luck points into endurance to give myself life giver, which is a godsend at early levels. I'm keenly aware that if you play on normal or hard or even very hard, your stim packs will save you. And I'm simply optimizing this build for survival, and I'm keenly aware that life giver does not compensate any points added in endurance after level 32, the one that I'm at. But early game is greatly helped by it, and I cannot get past that point. I really need it. If the enemy runs past your companion or the pacified creature and goes straight for you, you either need to learn or find a place to hide or perch or something like this, or you'll die. If you're playing with only a single point of endurance, or unless you manage to shoot him a couple of times in the head and actually hit and kill it. But if a Yao Guai, Deathclaw or something like this charges you, yeah, not fun at all. Well, you can also absolutely opt to play with power armor, that's perfectly good, but the thing is, I wanted to make a sort of true Arcturus Mengsk character, and have you ever seen Arcturus Mengsk in a marine suit or something like this? No. He's the guy who goes points to people, kill this one, kill that one, who's very charismatic, gives great speeches and just makes people follow him no matter what. This was my vision for the build, and while I so painfully realized that I don't really need those 6 points here because I was absolutely unaware of how the 4th point in Scrounger works. Thing is, I thought the 4th point in Scrounger will give you even more ammunition, so rather than finding like, say, 20, 50 cals, you'll be finding like 30 or 40 or something. That's absolutely not true. The 4th point in Scrounger allows you to find a complete magazine. So let's say you reload your 10mm, it has a 24, okay, or less, let's say. It has a 12. 10mm bullets, it will actually give you a free reload. That's how the 4th level Scrounger works, and I wasn't completely aware of that because this would make complete sense for a heavy gunner build. Because if you manage to get like this 5% chance to proc a free 500 ammo reload, that's amazing. And there are a lot of ammunition times that are absolutely not workable with Scrounger. Like, you cannot find plasma, you cannot find alien blaster bullets, and so on and so forth. That's the Scrounger perk has a lot of drawbacks, and I would rather play with Luck 1 than go with these two. And of course, Fortune Finder is not an amazing perk. I picked it for this build because, as I said, I just wanted to make the most caps possible. And I really wanted to invest as much in my settlements, like give them every single shop, and so on and so forth. And as you know, the level 3, I think 3 shop was like 500 caps and each, and if you have like 6, 7, 8 settlements, in order to keep them happy, because as you can see, all of my settlements have really good happiness, and that's not that easy to manage at higher population. This is all because of the shops, and I have been investing like crazy in those settlements. This is why I don't really have all that many caps. But whatever, I will cover all of this in the second part of the video. We are going to take a little bit of a different path that one I took here. I will be putting these 6 points into way more useful things like robotics expert, full locksmith, full hacker, because hacking allows you to control protectrons, and this is amazing, or assaultrons even. Robotics expert allows you to control assaultrons that are charging at you, and so on and so forth. Nerd Rage is a great perk for this build because it slows time for you, makes you way more durable, and allows you to reposition, hide, shoot, and so on and so forth. The extra points will even give you the opportunity to maybe even eventually, I don't know, maybe play a little bit with Vance or with like, well, we'll absolutely be going for armor, and we will be going for the ballistics weave, because that's the best armor for a non-power armor character, and it's downright amazing. And if we manage to get a max charisma suit for us, that will be amazing, because this will allow us to control even more enemies, incite them to attack, have them die for us, control even more, incite them to attack, die for us, and so on and so forth. I will try to, even with this build, even with this underpowered build, I will try to show you some gameplay, and if this build can do it, the other one is absolutely guaranteed to do it, because the other one is just straight out amazing. I just cannot even begin to fathom what these two will transfer in Life Giver and all other perks. But as I said, you will be building amazing settlements. I know that this is not at all impressive. I always wait till I'm done playing a lot to make something even more cooler, and so on and so forth. I'm totally going to scrap the whole Sanctuary Hills and make it as interesting as the other people, but that's all going to happen in due time. It's really nice to have a fully leveled charisma intelligence build, because it allows you to do all kinds of cool shit. And be aware that, and I'm going to show you this, be aware that the gunslinger build is not at all bad. As you can see, this bull barrel pistol, which I've made into a mini sniper, uses the 44 cals, has good range, and does 129 damage, which is pretty much the damage you will be doing on survival, because you cannot multiply it by 2, because that immediately gets cut off by the difficulty reduction. I also have the Deliverer, which is my staple 10mm. I also have a laser pistol to use should I need it. I also have this very cool Institute pistol, which is really nice, and to look at the range on it. 359 range. I can shoot from the other side of the map and still hit someone. The damage on it is not amazing, but who cares? Look at that range. I also have a gamma gun if I encounter human enemies. I have a suppressed 45 pipe pistol. Should I decide to do some sneak shots and so on and so forth? But the damage on it is absolutely terrible, so I'm not really using it. I also have another 44 cal, which is doing the same amount of damage, but I use it in when the enemy is closer. It's really cool. Just aim at that enemy, pacify it, incite them to attack the others, and so on and so forth. It's really cool. It has to be said. It's amazing. And also, I'm always trying to build for some more endurance or something. Anything that would give me endurance, I will take it, because that's more hit points, and that will make the build even more survivable. I hope I didn't bore you too much with all that rambling, though, because I'm sure you're eager to see the special and the perks for the build that I have prepared, which differs just ever so slightly from this one. Like, only these 6 perk points are not placed in the place that I've shown you, and that's not really a big difference, because as I said, I always make my builds around staple skills. As I like to say, the pillars of the build. Like, the pillars of this build are Gunslinger, Local Leader, Inspirational, Wasteland Whisperer, and Intimidation. Those are the staples of this build. Those are the pillars of it. Of course, you will be boosting it with gun nut, with armor, and so on and so forth. But yeah. So without further ado, let's dive in the second part of the build and see what the distribution of the special and perks goes as.